Drain
Or
Commission,
reworded.
Or reworded
I'm concerned about stormwater.
issue.
Who is?
They're concerned of, okay.
Bay County Drain Commission,
Is now concerned about stormwater.
well, as always, since we kicked it to them.
That's in every site plan review, though, you gotta worry about
Right.
storm runoff,
Correct.
it's just a fact.
Response from our Fletcher Drain Commission was dragging feet, government at work.
Strike it.
Lori DeShano, remind the board about January 22nd town hall. What residents wanted in township. Number one thing they wanted is to have more eating establishments. If we bring in more jobs, people need to eat locally. Quick lunch, not sit down, not leave town to get lunch.
True statement, that was at the meeting.
What's there?
I'd keep the first two sentences. Remind the board about January 2022 town hall. And residents did want, number one thing they wanted to talk about was eating establishments. I'd strike the rest.
I disagree. That's an accurate statement.
It's also an opinion. Second one's opinion too.
So you're cutting it at if?
Pardon?
Yes.
Huge investment in our community and increased tax revenue is a true statement. It would be.
You could probably start that with, in the summary of saying, Lori DeShano stated her support for
Correct.
Taco Bell approval, and then go,
Right.
she reminded the board that, and then strike the rest.
Okay.
Cameron Penix opposed building of the resort cabins. 9 windows face that way. This will affect resale value, putting multiple rentals on a small parcel.
I think just 9 windows face that way, just has to be 9 windows face one way. I mean, it's
The
easy.
problem.
9 windows
privacy
face
fence
south.
That will be 15 feet from
Excuse me.
the privacy fence.
No,
Oh,
please,
okay.
keep it till public comment. We're trying to get through this and not be here forever.
Cameron Penix expressed his
It would affect resale.
It's an opinion, though, maybe it'll increase in value.
Correct.
That's an opinion.
Single homeowners versus multi have a way of doing that.
Number 3, sorry. What will this do to their property value?
Sure, we can do that.
I'm just,
Because technically that's a piece of the public hearing, right?
Pardon?
That specific comment would be a piece of the public hearing, correct?
What? The number 3 one?
Yeah, Cameron Penix.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's still,
that's, I
it's
just said
before
that's
it.
fine, keep that in there, number 3.
It's before number 7.
So we modified number 2, right?
Putting multiple rental on small parcel. Opposed. Cameron Penix opposed building of the resort condos due to his home has 9 windows facing that property. Opposed putting multiple rentals on small parcel.
I'm sorry.
Any objections? Number 7, public hearing, new business, none, old business. We came back to review master plan corrections. P. Rokas passed out folders with the adjustments showing error corrections. That's just fact. G Roof asked clarification on when master plan was started. Brad Eddy said he has documentation from Jay Barsha and L. Ogar. Your clerk should have it unless he ditched it before he left.
The first one I could find, I went back and looked in the minutes book, and the only thing, first one I could find was in January of 16 on the, as far as an agenda item. So if it was in there before, I couldn't see it, and I went back all the way to 13, looking at stuff. So, that's fine.
I think, should we strike, your clerk should have it unless he ditched it before he left.
Yes.
The next three are, gives the statutory requirements, next 5 statutory requirements for changing the zoning. Brad Eddy inquired as to what is going to happen with the property lines that weren't accurately listed in the new master deed. He came forward and pointed them out, would like to see it corrected. There. Motion Fletcher, Rokas to table master plan, to have Spicers check property lines. Motion carried by all. You guys okay with it?
Yeah, I'm okay.
Speak up, I'm just going through them, so.
That's fine.
You know, Taco Bell, approval R. Fletcher, waiting on approval from Drain Commission for on-site draining. C. Campbell relayed the issue brought up at Monday's board meeting on how 18,000 gallons of water leaked at the 180,000 gallons of water leaked at the property next door, and there was no standing water. Also, the enlarging of the pond, as well as soil not being what they originally thought it was. G Roof also commented that for
All right,
all
I'm
the...
gonna go back. Relayed the issue brought up at Monday's board meeting, how 180,000 gallons of water leaked at the property next door and there was no standing water. I think you should strike that.
That's a fact.
That's fine. But it didn't have anything to do with Taco Bell approval.
I would think that if water of that magnitude isn't standing, water of an issue isn't reality.
But they still, that had nothing to do with Drain Commission for on-site drainage. I'd also strike mine. That was just a personal comment. Next one.
Okay.
Striking C. Campbell and G. Roof.
Yeah.
Let the
You
record
guys
show
agree
I
with
do
that,
not
or
agree.
you want that in there?
I do not agree with that, but
Don, I said you. Rick, Don, you want that struck or left in?
Wherever you guys, just put it on there, it's fine. You can strike what you had.
Okay. Motion in light of expanding the pond that we issue the building permit. P. Rokas wanted more discussion on how close did they get to the water retention requirements. Just add Bay County Drain Commission requirements.
oh, the fact is they got to 596 and they couldn't get to 599.
All right, the next one, C. Campbell, G. Roof, aye, all motion carried. Only 2 people have voted.
Oh,
I
that
think
was
that's
motion
and the
support.
second.
All right,
Motion second, and everyone said yes.
then it has to be second in there.
You were the one that seconded it, that's why it's second.
I just say it should be in the minutes, 2 seconds.
And so, the next thing that's on here says correspondence, and that's where all of the public comment is, and under public comment you have none. Only that Brad handed out 3 ring binder to us, Lisa, your, all correspondent member of the public, please kindly bring back C3. So all the stuff that's under correspondence should be under public comment.
Agreed.
Had nothing to do with correspondence. The only correspondence, and actually Brad Eddy's stuff should be moved to correspondence. So the stuff that's under public comment now, I know we're jumping ahead, but it's, to correspondence.
So
Public
you're
comment.
saying number 10
No.
goes down to,
Okay, but the next thing up says correspondence, okay? None of that stuff that's under correspondence is correspondence, that was actually public comment. So everything from 10 to 11, to where 11 starts, was all public comment. Okay, so that should be under 14. Brad Eddy's stuff, which, because you have right under here, public comment, none, and then Brad Eddy about handing the thing, that should go back underneath number 10, under correspondence.
But wasn't Brad the only one that came up during public comment, or did,
No, we
Brad
had
come
Tony
up?
did too.
Tony did too?
yeah,
Tony
So,
did.
okay, so that was on agenda, they had all those comments, was the comments on agenda, and then,
Well, it's the whole thing, if we go from number 9, old business, to 10. Where's our agenda from last? Old business, and, oh, new, so see, that should be new business. Should have been 8, new business, and, oh, I guess we've got our old business. Old business review, master plan, Taco Bell, and then we start talking about the, thing from last month. So that actually should be under, should be C. So, everything that's under 10
you wanted
should
all
be moved up to C, old business. Because we had already talked about that.
Including the motion?
Yeah, hold on.
motion to be new business.
Excuse me?
Motion. Just under G, motion for Fletcher Back Road, because they added all the nice ones.
Yeah, that's all part of
You said
this.
the 11 already.
Yeah. Yeah, so everything that's listed under number 10, correspondence, should be 9C, old business. What we can do is just here, get rid of it.
Get rid of correspondence and make it as 9C, is what you're saying?
I'll just take it out of there, and then, 'cause all this stuff you got, and then we'll have to put 10 here, just above the board meeting report, correspondence.
so how much of this do we really even need? It says it's supposed to be based on what is done, not what is said at the meeting. I mean, a lot of this can get, I mean, this was
Correct.
discussion.
This is basically just discussion.
Let's move through this then. R. Fletcher discussed about the definition of multi-family, detached and attached.
It's a key.
Was something done, or was it just discussed?
It was discussed.
Yeah, discussed.
So strike it.
Strike it.
R. Fletcher, there are no minimum lot sizes, widths, or depths on C1 property. They just need to meet the setbacks.
Discussion.
So strike it.
From eaves, 10-foot setback from property line on each side.
Yeah, I mean, that's discussion.
Kurt, concerns fire department, access, fire load code, etc.
Yep, discussion.
R. Fletcher, we need to create the usage first before parking, etc. is taking into consideration. Discussion. Brad Gore called the township and said Greg said it was approved. When the owner came in, they were told it was approved. That's the hardship we're claiming.
Keep it.
That's not true. In the context, you purchase a piece of land, you can't build on it. That's nothing more than a discussion we had.
Well, they weren't talking about buying the property, they were talking about what?
That's,
See, I think this was like public comment section, and it's very specific. If it's someone from the public, we have to know. If we're
'Cause
discussing it,
yeah,
it's
mixed,
not.
yeah.
If it's someone from the public, I think it's important.
I would just
If it's
change,
relevant to this,
that was relevant.
yeah.
I would
So
change
keep-
grade to township clerk.
So that and Staseks will keep in.
Like Stasiak, that's our hardship. We were assured that this
Yeah.
was already done
But
before we bought
public
it.
comment.
Our Fletcher, where's the paper that shows that? I think that can be struck.
Right,
Zoning Board of Appeals needs to approve it.
nothing to approve because we don't have anything yet.
P. Rocus, only a few parcels that meet C1 zoning in the township. Strike it. Our Fletcher, we're trying to create it to show that there can be multiple dwellings on one lot in C1. Right now, it does not say that. Discussion?
Yep.
C. Campbell, 67-foot wide lot, kind of gets me, the size being small. You can't even build a house on a 67-foot lot, but we're going to put 2 mini houses and possibly a storage building on a 67-foot wide lot. If family members come up, they'll park wherever they can park, which should cause problems.
public comment.
No,
You're a
strike
board
it.
member, though.
Strike it.
Yeah.
I'm a resident too.
If you're gonna sit out in the thing, you can make comments. If you're up at the table, then you're a board member.
Our
I've
Fletcher,
had to do both, so.
our Fletcher, as long as you meet the setbacks, that determines the building size. Strike it.
Stated earlier.
See Campbell, if we're not careful, we'll have residents showing up saying, why can't we build houses on a 67-foot lot? Strike it. Our
And
Fletcher,
that was a concern our engineers had, so it's not a fake
It's
concern.
not,
is there communication from the engineers to say that?
We just had that conversation today. Imagine.
Our Fletcher, changing this will allow all C1 properties to do this by a special use permit. Have multifamily dwellings.
I think you have to keep that because of what Mr. Eddy
Right.
asks next. That refers back to that statement.
Okay, Brad Eddy, I will see this next door. Will I see this next door on the property that is currently zoned R1, but is zoned C1 on the new master plan? I think you leave his comment.
yeah, leave this comment in there.
It's public comment, I
Right.
think you should. It's relevant to this. Our Fletcher, you would need a special use permit. Our Fletcher, the setbacks will determine the size of the buildings.
That refers back to one of the other ones that we struck, I believe.
So, strike the setbacks determine the size of the buildings.
Yes.
Yeah.
Lori DeShano, if you had 80 acres, by the way that you're changing this language, there would be no limit on the number of dwellings or structures that could be put on it. In this case, she's public comment,
Right.
so I think, yeah. leave it.
Keep that.
Our Fletcher's response, correct, but need to get a special use.
And that answers the question above.
I think
We just struck
But if
the
you
other.
strike that, you strike the next two. If you leave Lord's, you strike Fletcher's and roofs.
need to meet all criteria and definitions. She's public comment though, I think you gotta leave her.
No, leave,
No,
leave,
Lori, yeah,
leave
Lori,
Lord,
that,
yes. Leave DeShano.
Are you
strike
saying
Fletcher
strike?
and roof.
Strike, okay. Motion R, Fletcher, forward P. Rocus, add, allow multiple unattached dwellings per lot in C1, use only by special use permit. Roll call vote. Aye, motion carried. R. Fletcher, D. Cynic, update. Per Spicer's definition that multifamily dwellings include are both attached and unattached. See attached documentation.
Yep.
Okay, I should have read, motion made by Fletcher, second by Cynic, all in favor, motion carried.
Yep.
skip to public comment. Brad Eddy handed the 3-ring binder to C. Campbell, Township Trustee, to add with correspondence and member of public, Lisa Urick. Please contemplate bringing C3 back. Coquitlam Township took from him his family and the dockets. I think he clearly gave us the 3-ring binders.
Yes, I got that.
I think you strike Coquitlam Township took from him his family and the dockets.
Yep. Okay. So we've all gone through line by line.
Motion. Minutes?
Do I got a second?
Second.
Got a motion and a second to approve. Roll call. Charles?
No.
Don?
Yes.
Rick, yes. Gary?
Yes.
Pat?
Yes.
All right.
Hang on, I'd like to make a motion.
Yep.
I'd like to make a motion that the planning committee adopt the same format for reporting the minutes as the board of trustees, which the board approved in July 2022. The minutes would include name, address, and a brief objective synopsis. This would be the same format used by Williams Charter Township, Hampton Charter Township, Monitor Charter Township, Franklin Lost Township, and the Bay City City Commission.
Okay. You got a motion to do that? I'll second that. And that'll start with this month's minutes, which Shirley will transcribe in that format. Vote. Charlie?
I'm going to abstain, because I was the secretary, and in light of everything going on, I will not vote on that issue.
You abstain or what?
Yeah, that's what I just said.
That's fine. I'm just asking, okay? You don't have to just. Don?
Yes.
Rick, yes. Gary?
Yes.
Pat?
Yes.
Okay. Motion carried. Approval of the agenda. Any additions, deletions?
I'd like to add to new business, discussion on barn dominiums.
Okay.
Charlie, you put something here. Are you adding this to the agenda?
Oh, someone's here to talk about it. Under public comment, they have the right.
Okay.
When do these come in? Do you know when these came in?
Actually, they originally came in August of '22, January of '23, and I went and picked that up from said individual yesterday.
Okay.
Because that way, it was here, and in the front, nobody can say that where it ever went. It just never arrived here, but they did do something.
Yeah, we brought it in a couple times, my wife has called as well.
I dropped off 3 copies twice.
Okay. Well, I'm
I
sorry
got
that
additional copies
this never
because I
came
have-
to us.
No, we're just,
You
that's
do-
why we just come here to, we're advised to at least come to, maybe we can at least get the ball rolling or do whatever we have to do to.
So did they ever give you a form to fill out for site plan?
No.
We never heard from anybody.
I'll get you one at the end of the meeting, because there's a form you gotta fill out, and then it goes to zoning, to make sure it's gonna fit on the zoning stuff, and then we do it, and then you
Yeah.
bring it in, so we'll get it on the board. 'Cause we have to have
That's what
at
we're here
least
for.
15 business days, so we can go out, look at the property, see what the things are, and that way we can have an intelligent discussion
Yeah.
about what's happening with it. But I'll get you the form at the end of the meeting, you can fill out and get it rolling.
Awesome.
Perfect, okay, thank you.
We're easy.